Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. The whole nation is thinking of the tragic shooting that occurred in Orlando last weekend, and communities throughout the state are gathering to remember the lives that were lost.
We take the tragedy and we use it to become better.
From blood donations to potential gun regulations, we'll discuss how the events in Orlando are affecting Hoosiers hundreds of miles away from the nightclub. And it's a seller's market, why homebuyers in Indiana are becoming frustrated while searching for new homes.
She sent me the paperwork, the contract to sign, and oh, never mind, literally like 3 minutes later email, someone put an offer in.
And it may not look like much now, but this Indiana brewery has a festival planned for the fall that will be the first of its kind in the state. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. As the nation continues to grieve the 49 lives lost in the Orlando nightclub shooting, many are left with questions. How could such a horrific event happen? And how can the country move forward? Hoosiers held vigils across the state this week to try and work through those emotions. And as Barbara Brozier reports, many are focusing their efforts on ensuring the safety of the LGBTQ community.
This could have been any of us.
Hundreds of miles away from the scene of the Orlando nightclub shooting, many Hoosiers are struggling to cope with the tragedy. Because for so many people, this attack felt personal.
I'm thinking, oh my God, that could have been me in a big city looking for a place to be with people that identify like me.
It's the ultimate violation. A gunman going into what members of the LGBTQ community considered a safe space, taking 49 lives and shaking our sense of security.
I'm enraged that this was 49 people at one time, but that every single day in this country, scores more meet their end with a bullet and nothing changes. I'm angry. I am so angry. And I can't shake it off right now. We are all angry.
But then this happens. Hundreds of people show up for a vigil in Bloomington. Columbus residents pack an entire church to show their support. Communities throughout Indiana are sending a message in the wake of the tragedy, and it's loud and clear.
Enough of the violence, enough of the hatred and the divisiveness.
Vigils all over the state this week weren't just about grieving. They also focused on the work ahead. Some say the targeting of a gay club is a wake-up call that bigotry is still alive.
I don't want my nephews and future generation to go through what we are going through. So that's why I'm here.
The shooting is being investigated not only as an act of terrorism, but also a potential hate crime. According to the FBI, just over 20% of hate crimes reported in 2014 were motivated by gender identity or sexual orientation. That doesn't come as a surprise to members of the LGBTQ community.
There's much being made of this being an Islamic terrorist, and the focus being on stopping the Islamic terrorists. It happened that this person was an Islamic terrorist, but our people are being killed every day. Every day somewhere our people are being killed.
The shooting is prompting some communities to take action to ensure members of the LGBTQ community feel safe and supported. Bloomington Pride is launching an initiative called Stand with Pride. The organization is inviting businesses to participate by declaring themselves safe, inclusive spaces. More than 25 businesses are already on board.
It's so important for folks to understand that even though it's not my issue today, it could be my issue tomorrow. And if I want you to fight for mine, I've got to fight for yours. And that's the only way we get anything done.
And organizations like Indie Pride are hosting blood drives, encouraging allies of the gay community to show their support by donating.
We're getting a lot of people asking, how can we do something to help? How do we support? How do we take action? And so beyond financial giving, donating blood is another way to do that.
There are countless ways Hoosiers have come together in the past week to help the victims in Orlando and ensure the safety of their own communities. And that may just be the best way for the country to heal.
I guess it's what a lot of people say after something like this happens, we can't let them win, kind of a thing. And I think really it's even more important, and it's not just to the LGBT community, but our allies, our friends, our parents. You've got to come out and support us, because when our people speak, we're speaking in our own self-interest. If our friends and family speak, they're speaking to what's right.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
The Islamic Society of North America is condemning the shooting in Orlando, saying it goes against the teaching of Islam, but it's also having to defend Muslims because some people are using the tragedy to demonize Islam. The Secretary General of the organization says the country's been conditioned to fear Muslims.
There have been over 140 mass shootings so far this year. Only 1 or 2 of them have been committed by Muslims. So that's a very, very small percentage. And yet you don't hear about the other mass shootings.
PATA says they've had to increase security at ISNA over the past 6 months after receiving several threats. The shooting in the Pulse nightclub has reignited the debate surrounding gun regulations. Debate spread to the U.S. Senate as Democrats led a 15-hour filibuster. The goal was to allow for a vote on stricter gun regulations. Joining us now are Paul Helmke and State Senator Brent Waltz. Helmke is a professor at the School of Public and Environmental Affairs at Indiana University and a former head of the Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence. Senator Waltz represents District 36 and is an advocate for the Second Amendment. Thanks for joining us today. So it's the ongoing debate, could stricter gun regulations have prevented the shooting, Professor?
It's always tough to figure out what could have stopped a specific shooting, but clearly we're seeing too many of these shootings. Today's the 1-year anniversary of the Charleston AME church shooting, where it was a racist response, 9 people killed. We make it too easy for dangerous people to get guns. Here's somebody who the FBI had been looking at, who apparently at one time was on the terror watch list, who'd been fired from a job as a courthouse security person because of threats he was making. But still, Florida gave him a concealed carry permit, and still he was easily able to get a weapon that was able to shoot 45 rounds per minute and sneak it into this nightclub. We need to do something different. We need to look at who we allow to buy guns legally. We need to look at the background check system. We need to look at the terror watch list, and we need to ask, do we really want these kind of semi-automatic weapons available just as easily as a hunting gun, or maybe should we treat them more like a machine gun?
Senator Waltz?
Well, first of all, the weapons such as the AR-15 that Paul alluded to can be hunting weapons, they can be target weapons, and unfortunately, like all firearms, they can be weapons of murder. We know for a fact that gun laws are not effective. The FBI looked at this guy 3 times. And if you're going to rely on government to try to bail you out, to try to save you in a situation, whether it's domestic terrorism, whether it's international terrorism, you will likely end up in a very bad situation. And I just take great exception to the fact that we need to try to rely on government to try to help us. Unfortunately, yesterday in England, which has one of the strongest, toughest gun laws in the world, a member of parliament, unfortunately, was gunned down in the streets. So if gun laws are the end-all, be-all panacea to these acts of violence, sadly, that's not going to work.
You can't stop all violence. You can't stop all evil. But Britain sees maybe 50 to 60 people murdered with guns in a year. We see that in a weekend in this country. And we need to do something about this. We rely on government to provide police departments. We rely on government to provide armies. There are things that government can do. But we let this individual easily buy this gun. And again, a gun that can shoot 45 rounds per minute is something that is designed to kill a lot of people quickly. I'm not saying ban them. I'm saying look at the size of that magazine clip. Look at the hoops you have to go through. But a lot of people can buy this gun in 7 minutes because our background check system has so many holes in it and allows so many of these people, even when they're considered somebody that their neighbors wouldn't trust to a gun, that their employers wouldn't trust for a gun, we, the government, allow them to buy this gun easily.
But for the first time, we had this filibuster, 15-hour.
It was great to see that, to see finally the U.S. Senate talking about this issue.
But what's different this time?
Well,
why now?
We keep seeing these things. Again, a year ago today was the Charleston church shooting. We've had the Aurora shooting. We had the Tucson shooting. We had the Columbine shooting. We had the, I can't even remember all the shootings we have. We keep seeing this violence. And again, it's not just mass shooting. It's the daily violence in Indianapolis. It's the daily violence in Fort Wayne. And our response after every shooting is take down the Confederate flag or more tears and prayers.
I don't think taking down the Confederate flag or trying to legislate are going to be able to deal with these issues. And you know that. In 1994, when we passed the semi-automatic weapon ban and the magazine ban, basically Christmas for the anti-gun advocates, with a 10-year sunset clause on that. If I can finish, 3 years later, we had Columbine, one of the worst mass shootings in this country. So the gun law did not work to save those kids in Colorado.
No.
And you're going to find, unfortunately, that whenever we try to pass laws and the liberals do a victory lap saying we finally got the guns off the street or we've got guns out of the hands of the people that claim not to be able to have them, they will find a loophole around that. In the case of the terrorist in Orlando, his girlfriend, who was not on any watch list, who had not been investigated by the FBI, she could have very easily bought the weapon. And let's not forget that the gun store owner turned down the buying for the body armor and reported his actions to the FBI, which did absolutely nothing to fix this problem.
And of course, I know we could go on and on and on. This is going to be one of those things we're going to have to stay tuned for. We have to go.
We have too many holes in the system. We need a stronger system to make it harder for dangerous people.
People need to be able to defend themselves, and with firearms, they'll be able to protect
themselves. There'll be more to come. Thank you very much. Now, for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. An Indiana man facing weapons and ammunition charges in California after telling officers he was headed to a gay pride event now faces charges in Indiana for allegedly molesting a girl. James Wesley Howell was arrested early Sunday and found with 3 assault rifles and chemicals for making explosives. A prosecutor says it's a logical conclusion that Howell traveled to California to flee the child molestation investigation. Prosecutors in southern Indiana's Clark County charged the 20-year-old with 1 count of child molestation Wednesday. Meanwhile, Howell pleaded not guilty this week to charges of felony weapons violations in California. Prosecutors here say they intend to eventually have Howell extradited to Indiana. The federal judge ruling in the case between the ACLU on behalf of Planned Parenthood and the state says she will issue a ruling before Indiana's new abortion law takes effect July 1st. The federal court heard arguments Tuesday. The ACLU says the law is unconstitutional because states cannot prevent women from terminating a pregnancy prior to viability or 20 weeks. Indiana Solicitor General, however, says advancements in technology enable people to know much more about a fetus, and he says the state wants to prevent discrimination. The Indiana Solicitor General also says the state's new abortion law requiring fetal remains to be either cremated or buried is about ensuring respect for life. The ACLU of Indiana says it's irrational to treat fetal remains the same as human remains. A historic and unusual grave in Johnson County yielded a surprise for anthropologists excavating the site. As Harrison Wagner reports, crews are making improvements to the 186-year-old resting place.
Now it's a hole, but until recently it was the final resting place of Nancy Curlin Barnett. Johnson County wanted to expand 400 South and enlisted the help of University of Indianapolis anthropology professor Dr. Christopher Schmidt. Barnett was buried in that spot in 1831, which was originally a family grave plot. When the county wanted to build a road through the plot, Barnett's grandson stood watch over her grave with a shotgun, making sure nobody disturbed her. They ended up building the road around her grave. The grave was in need of work. Human remains were starting to expose themselves, and the grave's location was becoming unsafe for motorists. So, about 4.5 weeks ago, Dr. Schmidt and his team started digging. In addition to Barnett's remains, 6 other individuals were discovered. According to Dr. Schmidt, it isn't surprising that there were multiple graves there.
The surprise was that at least 3 of the interments had been disturbed previously by some sort of activity, be it a vehicle striking that high spot. It looks like somebody dug into the graves at some point. So those sorts of disturbances were more surprising than finding additional graves next to the known.
Dr. Schmidt says this grave is an important piece of Indiana history, especially as Indiana enters its bicentennial. Barnett was one of the earliest Hoosiers living through Indiana's entrance into its statehood. Dr. Schmidt says this could provide important insight into the lives of those early Hoosiers.
Seeing her remains and seeing the remains of people we think might be her family, that's very interesting to help us to ground truth some of the stories and some of the tales we've heard over the years about these folks who lived so long ago.
The grave contained the remains of 3 adults and 4 children. The road is being widened and the plot will remain where it was, as a historical marker and a monument to those early Hoosiers. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Harrison Wagner.
Researchers at the University of Indianapolis are studying the remains to determine the age, sex, ancestry, and cause of death, and will later return them to the plot. 2 top Indiana Democrats seeking election have released a joint plan to develop a state-funded preschool program that would be available to all children regardless of family income. Democratic candidate for Governor John Gregg and State School Superintendent Glenda Ritz say their plan would direct $150 million to a universal pre-K program. They say millions in federal grants that Governor Mike Pence previously turned down could be a big source of funding. Money that goes unspent in state government could be another. John Gregg also released his economic plan this week. Gregg says it relies on shifting existing resources and not increasing taxes. It focuses on building a skilled workforce, growing small businesses, and streamlining economic development efforts. In response to Gregg's plan, the Pence campaign points to Indiana's economic record during the governor's administration. That includes an unemployment rate that's decreased by nearly half and a business climate ranked by some as top in the Midwest. The Clarksville Police Department will stop using body cameras because of legislation passed last session. Law enforcement will be required to prove why a video shouldn't be released to the public or press rather than the other way around beginning July 1st. The Clarksville police chief worries his department will be flooded by requests. He also says a provision requiring police to store footage for at least 190 days would be too costly. Police are exempted from showing footage that could compromise an investigation. GE is planning to close its Bloomington plant, which employs more than 300 workers. The decision comes after GE says demand for side-by-side refrigerators made at the facility declined 76% since 2008. The plant management has 60 days to negotiate with the union, and GE hasn't announced a timeline for the plant closure. The president's proposal to address the prescription opioid and heroin abuse epidemic budgets more than $1 billion over 2 years. The money will be used to increase access to drug abuse treatment. Indiana's piece of that proposed funding would be the 16th highest amount of any state. The Obama administration estimates Indiana would receive about $19 million. The Indiana State Climate Office says parts of Indiana may experience another drought this summer. It says a drought will depend on the strength of a developing La Niña weather pattern. This is what caused the drought in the summer of 2012. The Climate Office says it expects the second half of June to be drier than normal. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management requires operations with more than 300 cattle to get a permit for their confined feeding operations, or CAFOs. But a CAFO in Steuben County is receiving an exemption so it can continue running. Some residents worry the exemption could lead to waste entering a nearby waterway. Only White County requires a minimum distance between CAFOs and a body of water. That regulation is designed to shield the Tippecanoe River Basin and its residents from pollution and farm odors. Plans are moving ahead for construction of a 26-acre solar farm at the site of a former scrap steel plant in Kokomo. The project is estimated at $10 million and will include 21,000 solar panels. The solar farm will go on a portion of a former Continental Steel plant where tons of lead and PCB contaminated waste was removed. In solar energy, the sun is out a lot lately, Joe, so they'll have plenty of it.
That's right. Thank you very much, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. This field of short corn plants will soon be home to a large craft brewing event. There's a twist to it. We'll explain. And after years of flat sales, the housing market is booming. Inventory is at record lows. That's good news for sellers, but potential buyers are struggling. How much will your dream home cost in this economy? These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Nature takes you places where you've never gone before.
It's watching something that's actually happened.
Nature sure draw me in the story.
Just their power and their grace.
You know, it was just so beautiful to watch them.
The movement and just watching the body and watching the chase.
Like this huge, lush, vibrant watercolor.
James.
There was such a shot of underneath watching these elephants swim in this deep water.
I had no idea even they could swim like that. I saw that one monkey pulling on this one monkey's tail, and the monkey like, man, what you doing? What you doing?
It's like the theater of the wild or something.
7 billion trillion animals living on one planet.
It's like more colorful than than you think life can possibly be.
Somewhere between the mystique and the beauty of it is reason enough to sit down and watch.
That's life, and that's nature.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, if you're trying to buy a home in Indiana, you're likely feeling frustrated. Inventory is at its lowest in decades. The number of homes on the market fell nearly 15% in April of this year compared to the same time last year. As Barbara Brozier reports, while that makes the home buying process difficult, it's a good sign for the state's economy.
The process of buying a home always starts out exciting.
You're really fired up, and it's just like shopping at the beginning.
You start browsing homes online, doing drive-bys in neighborhoods you love, maybe going to an open house, and eventually stumbling across a home you're convinced is meant to be yours.
First, we saw that everything sells immediately.
Yeah.
So as soon as something goes up, if you're not on it, it's gone.
After a couple of weeks, all of that excitement wears off.
It becomes all about compromise, and I don't think you think when you're going to buy a house that every step along the way is going to be a compromise. But it is every step.
Tyler Lake and Jenny Mack are trying to buy a house in Bloomington after renting for years. But after getting outbid and watching houses sell in a matter of hours, they're just ready for the process to be over.
It may be as exhausting as it is exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
And for good reason. The number of homes on the market has dropped over the past few years. Inventory is the lowest president of the Indiana Association of Realtors, Nancy Smith, has seen in her 38-year career. And that's changing the process for buyers.
You can no longer just go shopping and then go home and think about it. You've got to be ready to pull the trigger when you see something that you like.
A quick and expensive decision. That strong demand doesn't just mean homes are going quickly. In many cases, they're selling for more than list price. That's something realtors haven't seen in years.
We are doing multiple offer notifications, and yes, that is causing many buyers to pay above list price. You have to be very careful with that because, again, the house has to appraise. So we have to make sure that they're making a smart move, that they're getting a good buy.
The competitive market can be tough on buyers, but experts say it is evidence of a strong economic rebound. The Midwest saw the highest home ownership rate in the first quarter of this year, with nearly 69% of people owning their homes.
I think that it's a good sign that the economy is picking up steam a little bit, that people have confidence to make that big home purchase. I think that if we do see this the rise in prices and this inventory crunch trigger more home building, I think that can provide a shot in the arm to the Indiana economy.
But there are some areas where Indiana is still lagging behind. Home building hasn't rebounded as quickly as expected because of high costs.
Since the start of the Great Recession, we've seen a serious decline in new home construction, and that really hasn't started to pick up yet. We're seeing some slight increases in home building, but we're still well below where we were before the recession.
Experts say that's slowly starting to change as demand for homes continues to climb. And as more homes come on the market, prices will level out. That's welcome news for Mack and Lake, who are hoping to close the deal on their first home this summer. And as they learned from the buying process, it's best to remain cautiously optimistic.
We hope that maybe it might just possibly be okay.
And we're out of time for the Brewery Festival. We'll try to get that on next week. But our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers, now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. SIphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.